All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 168-pound division, where David Benavidez is the mandatory challenger for Canelo Alvarez. But a guy, the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world that wants to fight Canelo Alvarez, doesn't want any smoke with David Benavidez. Now, Terence Crawford wanted to fight Canelo, but not David Benavidez, should tell you everything you need to know about the Canelo Alvarez-Terence Crawford fight. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division and the 168-pound division at the same time, where there's a lot of smoke being blown around in the sport of boxing. First, you have David Benavidez, who beat Demetrius Andrade to solidify his position as the mandatory challenger for Saul Canelo Alvarez. Devastating performance, stopped Demetrius Andrade, I do believe, going into the 7th round. Team waved it off going into the to the 7th round because it was just, the fight was just getting so lopsided, and the shots that were landing were so heavy on Demetrius Andrade that they had to call it quits. So the next thing is obviously that people want to see David Benavidez fight Canelo Alvarez. However, that's not the only person that is trying to angle for a fight with Canelo Alvarez. The other person is the 147-pound former undisputed champion, Terence Crawford, who says that he just wants to fight Errol Spence in his next fight. And after that fight, that he wants to move up and fight Canelo Alvarez. Now, before I get into the details of it, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you guys so much for your continued support. But let's do this, man, because this is something that I've said about people jumping weight classes for a while. From the time Mikey Garcia moved up to from 135 to 140, and then back to 135, and then back up to 147, and then back to 140, that same way as Canelo Alvarez when he moved from 168 to 175, then back to 168, that it's a lot of cherry picking going on when people are doing that. So after you see Canelo Alvarez say that he will not fight Terence Crawford, right? He's not looking to fight Terence Crawford. There's nothing in it for him. There's a lot of people that are still pushing the idea that Terence Crawford should go get the Canelo Alvarez fight instead of staying at 147 pounds or at 154 pounds to fight guys, if he's able to beat Errol Spence, to beat guys like Jaron Ennis, right? So they say, you know, what's good for boxing, that's what's Terence Crawford's looking for a legacy. But Terence doesn't, however, want to fight David Benavidez, who's at 168 pounds. So let's just assume something happens, that David Benavidez fights Canelo Alvarez, and then David Benavidez wins that fight. Terence Crawford is then not going to move up and fight David Benavidez for the undisputed title at 168. It's only if it was Canelo, but not if it's David Benavidez. Well, let's assume that he goes up and he fights Canelo Alvarez and he wins the belts. And then what? Then he's not going to fight David Benavidez and defend the belts against David Benavidez. So what happens to the 168-pound division? And the idea that what we want to do is, in boxing, we want to see the best fight the best. All of that goes up in smoke. It's not the best fighting the best. It is oh, let me see if I can find somebody I think I find a weakness in for a large amount of money, and then create a spectacle, right? And then, no, I want the spectacle. I don't want it to be the best who fights the best. David Benavidez is, in my opinion, is the best at 168. Now, obviously, he doesn't have all the belts, but really, that WBC belt is one that David Benavidez had that David Benavidez never lost in the ring. So there's really, in my opinion, a question about whether or not Canelo is really the undisputed guy up there at all. So look, man, I understand. I get these specialty matches, but if Terence Crawford is willing to go up to fight Canelo Alvarez, he should be willing to go up and fight David Benavidez. And it shouldn't be, well, no, I don't think that, we don't want to see that because we know David Benavidez is too big for Terence Crawford. Well, if you got a guy in that division that is too big for you and you don't believe that the guy can, you guys don't believe they can beat him, then what do you want to see him move up to 168 pounds at all for? It would seem to me that people would want to see more realistic, more competitive fights and ones that could add continuation or continuity to the division that they're fighting in, like Jaron Ennis at 147. Or if he moves up to 154, then guys like Tim Tszyu at 154 or Jamel at 154 or what have you. Because that actually gets to tell you who the best people in those divisions are. And it's not just some one-off type of thing. Now, Terence Crawford has the right to do what Terence Crawford wants to do. No doubt about it. I'm not saying that, hey, man, you can't go up there and do that. But look, man, I say the same thing if it was Errol, if it was Gervonta, whatever. If you're going to go up to 147 pounds and you are okay to fight for a belt at 147 pounds against this particular guy, you should be able to defend those belts in that division, And if you're not, and you're just going to come back, then, it's a nice to see. But I mean, I don't really want to get what it does for boxing for that to take place. Now, Terence, though, I do believe Terence Crawford has a chance to beat Canelo Alvarez, though. I do. Even after seeing what that ridiculous amount of leather that is getting thrown by those guys at 168 pounds, man. Like, it ain't no joke, man. David Benavidez is landing. You could just hear the sound come off the body of off of Demetrius Andre with those shots landed. And it wasn't too much different at all listening to them shots come off the body of Jermell Charlo against Canelo Alvarez, right? But at the end of the day, man, what should happen, Canelo should fight David Benavidez. Because that's going to decide who the best guy in that division is. And then after those guys have that fight, then the next guy they should fight is David Morrell. Because there's a third guy in that division, right? And now, again, as far as Terence Crawford going up, like, not only do I think David Benavidez is too big for him, I think David Morrell is too big for him too. You may also have a scenario where Caleb Plant could be too big for him. You really could have a situation where Demetrius Andre is too big for him. And Jermell Charlo is too big for him, right? So it just, to me, if the fight takes place, I'll enjoy the fight. But the fact that Terence Crawford is not really looking to fight David Benavidez at that weight class tells me that it's just more of a specialty type of thing and nothing that I think is as important as seeing the fight between Terence Crawford and the winner of Terence Crawford and Errol Spence versus like Jaron Ennis or even guys like Tim Tszyu and people like that in those weight classes. Because, dude, there are weight classes for a reason. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.